Hello and welcome. When you think about a new hotel opening, you probably picture the grand lobby, the fresh linens, right? But what's happening behind the scenes is, well, it's a massive undertaking. Today, we're going to pull back the curtain on what I think is the most critical final step, the tech dress rehearsal. We're talking about making sure every single piece of technology is working perfectly before that first guest even thinks about walking through the door.
So we're going to tackle this in 4 key stages. First up, the big one, the final pre-opening check. Then we'll actually walk through a simulation of the guest journey. It's pretty cool. After that, we're going behind the scenes, to see how all the back of house stuff gets tested. And to wrap it all up, we'll talk about certifying the digital foundation that holds it all together. Think of it as the ultimate tech gauntlet a hotel has to run before opening its doors. All right, let's dive right in with that final pre-opening check. And believe me, this is so much more than just flipping a switch and hoping for the best. Nope. This is a super rigorous process. We're talking about making sure the hotel's entire digital ecosystem, all the software, the network, every single tablet, is working in perfect harmony with the actual people on the ground. And you really can't overstate how high the stakes are here. Just one little system failure can set off this huge chain reaction of problems. Suddenly, maintenance requests are just gone. Or you're selling rooms that are out of service. Or worst of all, your team can't communicate when it matters most. Really, this whole stage is about stopping the chaos before it even has a chance to begin.
So, how do they manage all this? Well, this is where the pre-opening IT checklist comes in. You should really think of it as the master blueprint for the hotel's big tech debut. The whole point is to run simulations of the most complicated daily tasks you can imagine from start to finish. You're basically pushing every system to its breaking point to make sure it holds up. It's all about guaranteeing that everything is 100% ready to go before a single guest walks through that door. Okay, now let's shift gears and focus on the guest experience itself. And the best way to do that is to simulate one of the most critical workflows in any hotel, turning over a room. That whole cycle of a guest checking out and getting that room ready for the next person checking in? This process has a massive impact on revenue and guest happiness, so there is zero room for error. It has to be perfect. So, the simulation runs through this very precise 4-step cycle. It all kicks off when a mock guest checks out in the PMS. That's the property management system, the hotel's brain. That one click has to instantly ping a housekeeper's mobile device, assigning them the room. As soon as they mark it clean, boom, an alert goes to a supervisor to go inspect it. And the second they give it the thumbs up, the room status flips right back to available in the PMS. The cool part is, every single step is automated and tracked in real time. But here's the thing, it's not just about if the system works, it's about how fast it works. This whole cycle, from the moment a guest leaves to the moment the room is ready for sale, is timed. It's benchmarked against performance targets. Because think about it, every single minute you waste here could be another minute a new guest is stuck waiting in the lobby. And in this business, speed and accuracy, well, they're everything. Of course, running a hotel is way more than just what happens in the guest rooms. Behind the scenes, there's this nonstop flow of internal tasks. So now, let's take a look at how the system juggles 2 really important ones, maintenance problems and direct guest requests. So picture this. A housekeeper is in a room and finds a broken lamp. They just pull out their phone, open the app, and log it as a snag. Instantly, the system creates a work order and shoots it over to the engineering department. Then, the clock starts ticking. It tracks how long it takes for an engineer to respond and how long it takes to finish the job. And if it's a really big problem, the system is smart enough to automatically change the room's status to out of service so nobody can book it by mistake. That way, nothing ever falls through the cracks. And this is where you really see how smart these systems are. It has to know the difference between an internal repair job and something a guest needs right now. For example, a broken sink? That's a ticket for the engineering team, and it might mean taking the room out of service. But a guest asking for an extra towel? That's totally different. That request has to go straight to the nearest housekeeping runner for immediate delivery, and the room status stays the same. It's all about getting the right task to the right person right away.
Okay, but that brings up a really important question. What happens when the system and the staff don't agree? Like, what if a housekeeper's tablet says room 305 is vacant and clean, but the front desk system says it's still occupied? Who do you believe? Little things like human error or a slight system delay can cause these kinds of mix-ups.
Well, a really solid system is built to catch these problems automatically. It'll immediately flag a room status discrepancy.
What that does is generate a report that tells a supervisor, hey, you need to go physically check this room and fix this. There's a whole protocol for it. This is the safety net that makes sure the data is always accurate for everyone.
All right, for our final piece to the puzzle, let's talk about the foundation. Because honestly, none of these fancy workflows mean a thing if the hardware and the network can't handle the load. This last step is all about certifying the digital infrastructure, the nuts and bolts that power every single tap, click, and command in the entire hotel.
And when I say everything, I mean everything. Every single piece of connected hardware gets tested one by one. We're talking every phone, every housekeeping tablet, every computer at the front desk, even the printers. They all get checked for network connection and to make sure they're fully working. And just as important, you have to confirm that every single staff member can log in securely with their own personal credentials.
Now, I want you to just picture this for a second. We're talking about hundreds of people, housekeepers, engineers, front desk staff, all on their mobile devices, all hitting the hotel network at the exact same time. That's not a hypothetical, that's just a busy morning.
And that is exactly why you have to simulate that peak load. You run a network stress test that basically pushes the Wi-Fi and the servers to their absolute limits. You have to know for sure that the system isn't going to crash or slow down to a crawl right in the middle of a rush. You know, a stable, fast network, it's really the invisible backbone of a modern hotel.
So, once every possible scenario has been played out, every device has been tested, and the network has been certified, that's it. The whole pre-opening checklist is finally done. The final step is getting that sign-off from all the department heads. That signature is the final technical certification. It's the moment the hotel's technology is officially declared guest-ready. So think about it. The tech is certified. The workflows are smooth. The digital foundation is rock solid. On paper, the hotel is ready. But the real question is still out there. What happens when that very first guest walks through the door? Because that's the moment of truth. That's when you see if that perfect blend of technology and genuine human hospitality really comes to life.